evening. It is Thursday night. Who is all over you like a bad case of eczema, but gives you your space like you have a bad case of scabies? It's us. Thursday night podcast from American Scouts for TV. ASTV to the cool kids. The four handsomest baldies on the planet. And Cozzy, because I count for two people. Hey. How are we, gentlemen?
Tremendous.
Good.
I mean, we should be tremendous, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
It's all coming to a head, and we are going to be champions at some point soon. Let's hope it's this weekend. But what a glorious ending to the season. Not as exciting for young Mr. Cosington, but nevertheless, what we get to do is we get to stick it up to the Arsenal fans and the United fans, especially the United fans, because we look more likely to win a 21st title than they do. And let's keep that going. We will have fulsome praise for the other handsome baldy who's behind Suzie's shoulder there, looking imposing, and quite rightly. But here is our show for tonight. We're going to look at and laugh at Arsenal and Mikel Arteta and his George Foreman grills. We will talk about free transfers with the news that Jamie Vardy will not be a Leicester player next year. With Kevin De Bruyne leaving City, some interesting ideas there, players that may be available. We'll have a look at a few of those to see if there's any sort, well, basically to see if there's any sort of talent to be picked up for free. An old Gary McAllister style, James Milner style signing. We'll do room 433. It's gentleman's choice tonight, so they get to try and put whatever's annoying them into room 433. And then we'll talk about the game, which essentially, if we're honest, should be a party. Should be on paper. But we all know it's not played on paper. Unless you're Spurs, then it's always played on paper. But let us start first with this young, handsome gentleman. Oh, no, sorry, that's a Lego piece. Mikel Arteta there looking all sad because his team talks with his sound systems at the training ground didn't quite work out from this season. Second, the eternal bottlers. Gentlemen, is he the real deal, or were we right all along? And he's just, if we may want to say at the start of the season that Arne Slot could turn out to be a bald fraud, this is the gel-haired fraud for sure. Brian, your opinions on Mikel Arteta and whether he is the man for Arsenal?
I mean, I think the jury's been out right there with him for a while. I think that, he still hasn't really produced anything of any significance for their club. I mean, it's the level of arrogance is what bothers me the most right there. I mean, and I probably wouldn't feel as bad about him, because I didn't mind Arsene Wenger. I mean, he was kind of quirky and stuff like that too. Didn't mind George Graham when he was through there, again right there, the whole thing. But it just seems like this is just I don't know. It's just he's just a mess to me right there. I mean, it's like he's trying to come there and play to follow a Pep Guardiola type of arrogance right there, but he has nothing to show for it. So yeah, I mean, I've got no real feeling about him right there. It's kind of like it's a dull feeling. I don't care for him. I don't care about him. This is one of those things.
Suzie, is he just, when you think about like how, as Brian says, like, he tries to play that Pep Guardiola 2.0 kind of soccer, but they also, I believe, have scored the most set-piece goals this season. Is he an Emperor's New Clothes coach and is basically essentially the Hispanic Tony Pulis?
Yeah, he's just like
Antonio Pulis!
It just feels like it turns up in a Pep cosplay every one time he his little TED Talks, and he's just epitomizes what Arsenal are right now. I mean, I grew up, obviously, as Brian was alluding to, like George Graham and Arsene Wenger. You look at the players now, they're nothing like David Rocastle and Ian Wright. And, as much as they were rivals, you could respect their players, from goalkeeper to up front. And these players, they're an extension of what Pep is. And not Pep, sorry, Arteta. And you look at Man City under Pep, Liverpool under Klopp, our players were an extension of them. And just like these players are, he just epitomizes that club, from their fan base to AFTV to the fans to just deluded. And he spent more money than Pep. He spent 800 million, and average point per season, 71 points, including the season. But when everyone started taking him seriously, that was like the World Cup season where Liverpool we fell off the cliff because of our midfield. Last season, obviously, we know what happened last season with Klopp's long goodbye, and I think the media wanted a London team to be up there challenging the Northern teams, and that's why he got so much kudos the way he did. But no, he's. I think Timothy said it as well. It seems like the man before the man. But there's so many things wrong with that club. Obviously not as wrong as Man United, but from top to bottom, they're just an embarrassment, deluded, no accountability. And yeah, I don't see them winning anything big with this with him.
Now you say you spent 800 million, but Lego is expensive now, to be fair. Also, just do me one small favor there. Scratch your head again. Scratch the top of your head again, Susie. Right now, see that bicep nonsense that you've got going on. I'm a middle-aged man with a decades-long marriage. I do not need to be emasculated any more than I already am every single day when I wake up. Just stop it. Stop with your healthness and your fitness. Just stop. Cosy, now I've set aside 4 hours for you to talk about Arteta. But is he essentially the Andrew Ridgeley of coaches?
No. I think he's going to get wild there. I think a little bit. Because this is the fella who still might win the Champions League. So we all need to, and still finish second. Well, whether you like it or not, he's got a better chance of Liverpool than winning it, hasn't he? So
Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League. I live where I'm.
Of course, but there's also a part where, and I'm not defending him, by the way, fella, far from it. I think this season in the league, it's been really bad. If Man City were going to fall off, Arteta had to take, Arsenal had to be the team who won the league. He just had to be, because you're already primed to win the league. Mm. There's a part of this where I will feel slightly sorry for him because of the injuries. Because if you want to talk about real football chat here, I can say, well, I didn't give a fuck about our injuries last year. And I'm not here to be a bitter Liverpool fan or whatever, but if you actually take it out of the context of what they are and where they are right now, they have got injuries and they have got issues. But this is also the same player who loaned out like Fabio Vieira, who could have helped you, who sold Emile Smith-Rowe when you're struggling for forwards and midfielders, and they could have helped you for the season. And you wanted this smaller, tight-knit squad where you got that and you get injuries, then you own that you can't get the players. That's where I don't feel sorry for him, because you had those options there and you got rid of them, whether you like it or not. There's a part of this, though, gents, where I just think he's a weird man. He's weird. I won't argue that, right? He's fucking weird. Like, he does weird things. He'll do weird subs. Saka, the 2-0 up against Ipswich, Saka gets destroyed with that challenge. It's a bad challenge. It could have been, let's get it right. It could have really done it, right? Just kept him on. 2-0 up, they're down to 10 men. You've got a Champions League semi on the horizon, and you just left him on. I find it absolutely wild. I know he's trying to get minutes into him to build up his fitness, but he might just sometimes just go, it's not your day. Do you know what I mean? This is not today. I can't afford the injury. So he just does weird things. But what I will say is, though, gents, he has a nucleus of a side in terms of a spine that's as good as anyone. The spine is as good as anything in terms of their spine is not as good as Liverpool's, but very close. The keeper's really good. The centre halves are really good. Declan Rice is better midfielder than any of our midfielders. And Saka is, of course, he's a level below Salah, but he's extremely a good football player. So they have 4 or 5 really key pieces. I just think they have another big issue with centre mid because of Rice, because they now need a number 6 because Partey's going on a free. I think, and I don't think you want to re-sign him with everything that's going on. I don't think you really want to re-sign him right now. He's a bit like Voldemort in UK media. He who shall not be named. Unnamed Premier League footballer, 31. I think he gets called in the papers. So, but what I will say is they will come again, Like, they have got a good staying power. I just felt like if they went out the Champions League to Real Madrid, they might not come back. So it's a bit like Liverpool. I always think about the Barcelona game. I know we Liverpool win 4-0 and we go on to win the Champions League. It's not about that. Mentally, what you tell the players if you lose to Barcelona. You got 97 points. You didn't win anything. That's hard for the manager to get the players back up. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's hard for Klopp to go, all right, guys, let's all do it all again. And they might just sat there when you talk shit, you fella, we're not winning anything. Do you know what I mean? So he needs this Champions League more than anything. And I felt like that Real Madrid game was a massive turning point for him. because he beat them massive. Let's get it right. They beat a European giant. It's the biggest European giant, and they beat them over 2 legs. Whether we like it or not, they went to the Bernabeu and won. That's impressive. And they had to give kudos to anyone who goes to the Bernabeu and won. I feel like, though, I think he's at the stage now, though, he doesn't know what to do at right back. He has no idea, because Ben White is being in and out. I think he likes Timber there, doesn't he? But I don't think he bought Timber for that. He has a weird left-back situation now, because he doesn't like Zinchenko. I think he wants to kill him every time he sees him. Kieran Tierney loaned out, and now he's kind of getting games. It just feels a bit spare parts. It feels like they've got a good, especially Liverpool, they've got a good nucleus beneath 4 players, which is really weird to say.
I think it's the Tierney one as well. I think he signed a pre-contract with Celtic. He's going back up north at the end of the season. He
wants to kill Zinchenko every time he looks out.
Yeah. Here's my question, though, lads. Is and we go to Brian next, but is like, because he makes some excellent points as always. That's why everybody should watch the Thursday night show, because excellent points get made. Not by me, now, to be fair. But isn't that Arsenal's bag? Is it that they're always a few players away from having a great side, and have been since the mid 2000s, maybe? Once that Thierry Henry side started to break up, it started to be around about that. Yeah, it was after that. They've always been just a couple of players away from being a very good side. Is that just Arsenal's lot in life, the same way Everton's lot in life is just to be, the face in which everybody's boot may kick for eternity?
I'm just going to go with what kind of like on Kazi's theme about the weirdness of this. You signed Jesus right there to come there to basically come there to shore up your front line, and he has been absolutely terrible. Then you go and get Raheem. Yeah. Then you go there. And then you go there bringing Raheem Sterling this year, which has been absolutely atrocious. I mean, he's done nothing for them at all right there from there. So this is strange when you actually look through there and the forwards that you had available that you probably could have brought in at that time, and this is what you're offering. That's your big problem that you have right there. I mean, you don't have a centerpiece right there. I mean, it's kind of like our situation, but theirs is worse because they keep on having injuries. You have Saka, who is not the player that Salah is, and you have Martinelli, which is a hot and cold on the other side right there. So I mean, you just got so many different problems right there with them. But I mean, maybe it is Arsenal's fate right there that they're going to go through this. I mean, but you can't knock those Arsenal sides that Invincible side was an incredible side. I mean, there's no knock against them right there. I mean, but this iteration that you're seeing right there, I mean, is not the same. I think that their side took a lot of blame at Arsene Wenger for what Arsene Wenger did, but you actually you've got another version of Arsene Wenger. I mean, with Arteta, in my opinion. I mean, he does the same type of really quirky things like Kazi was saying, and the weird stuff like that Arsene Wenger did. So you didn't change a manager. It's like this like Scooby-Doo like theme that came out. When you lift up the mask right there, and it's like Arsene. When we lift up Arteta's mask, it's just Arsene Wenger again, and that's what I kind of feel with it. I mean, it's not. I mean, there's destined to have this type of thing until they bring in Eddie Howe.
I'm going to tell you one more time. Stop showing off the biceps, or I'm cutting you off. I'm just cutting you off, mate. Here's my question.
Not a channel to his OnlyFans for that.
No, that's true. That is true. We did talk about that during the week. So see, here's the thing, because I liked Arsene Wenger as a coach, but that was who he was. That was Arsene Wenger. He was just a weird, tall, skinny man with a funny accent, Cozzy and me and you and Brian, except I'm just small. But with Arteta, to me, it seems like it's all a performance. Like, he's acting this way. He's trying to create an image of himself that people will remember. Whereas, Pep Guardiola's clearly got some sort of OCD issues or something like that. He's very highly strung. Klopp was Klopp, hugely entertaining, but underneath it, as Graham Soon has said about Bob Paisley, an iron fist and a velvet glove. You wouldn't want to cross him, but if you did the right things, he was your best mate and he'd motivate you to the ends of the earth. Arne Slot's just calm. He's a proper Dutch guy. He's just calm until you get him going. But for Arteta, it just feels between the grilled chicken team talks, the sound LCD sound system training sessions, the clothes, the really set hair, and the weird post-match interviews. I remember during the week I was listening to somebody on the Sirius XFM thing just complaining about, like, you can't understand the word he says, and he's not even saying difficult words. Nothing makes sense. Is he just a personality, a created designer coach for the new age, who will ultimately be found out because after he goes from Arsenal at some point, you know, somebody's going to come in and take that team and make something of it and make him look stupid?
Well, that's why it's Lego head. You know, you just build out of Lego, build out of plastic, and that's what he is. He's like the Simon Cowell of managers. You just like kind of put a bunch of plastic shit together, and that's what you get. You get Arteta. You know, with the Wenger, he was genuine. You know, he was economics professor, whatever. He changed the British game. You know, his tenure might have dropped towards the end, but he changed the way the British football and the players they took themselves, and he changed so much of that, and more to the point, he got on Alex Ferguson's nerves, which was great. And all the managers that you've mentioned, they've all got their own characteristics, you know, and even Slot, you know, we were worried, you know, the new manager that comes in after Klopp is going to try and emulate Klopp, or and you know, Slot didn't. He just got on with his own business, was calm, collected. Wenger just seems so disingenuous, and again, you know, I go back to the club just emulates a manager. Even the fans are just copying our songs and singing "Conquering Europe." They haven't conquered Europe. They haven't even conquered North London properly, let alone conquering, you know, Europe. Just everything about that club, and he's just the face of that club. And I'm glad I'm not an Arsenal fan, because if that was my manager, I would give up watching football. It's just everything about that club. I hate that club.
I do want to press it though to our listeners here that he is just brought up in London and he is from London.
Yeah.
Just really presses that. So
I played for Arsenal Juniors. I really despise.
So did you get released? Is that why you hate them? Is that what it is?
No, it's everything came to a head. It was like 89 when that was just beating us 2-0 at Anfield, and that was it.
I think there's a part though, Macka, right, with this current side, where he's done something so different this year that I didn't expect him to do, where he just changed the style of football. Like last season, I remember like they were quite attacking, they were really good, and I've just checked in. Last year they get 91 goals, which is no mean feat. That's a fucking really good. You know what I mean? That's a good number. That right now they're on 63. So that tells you that he's trying to win the league by a different way. But I just don't think I think he instead of going, we got 89 points last year. By the way, if you're going to challenge the league for City, we know this as fans. You've got to get over 90. If you're going to challenge it with City, because City will get 90 at least. Now, instead of him just going, okay, I just need to sign a boss centre mid, or sorry, a boss centre forward, I'm just going to go, I'm going to spunk all my dough on the centre forward. He goes out and signs like Calafiori and Michael Murray, and he tries to, so he's kind of went, I'm just going to get big, strong lads and win loads of games 1-0, 2-0. And I'm just going to get big, massive, strong and try and win it a different way because I can't win it this way. And I think that's incorrect. And what he just had to do was just go, I'll just go again with, a bit like what Jurgen did basically. And when we got so close to doing that, we'll just go again. Liverpool win the Champions League on 97 points and didn't sign a player. Like, genuinely didn't sign a player. We signed Vandenberg and the other bum keeper or whoever we signed. And that was it. So he just went, he trusted them to go again. He didn't trust them to go again. Do you know what I mean? He didn't trust them just to go, you know what, lads, we'll fucking stick tight here. We'll keep Smith-Rowe, we'll keep Vieira, we'll keep Nketiah. Or we'll keep Reece Nelson from going on loan or something. Just bits and pieces who can play the League Cup for me in the FA Cup and take, you know what I mean? Just take a little of the workload off. We'll keep this big squad. We'll just go and do the big striker and we'll see how we get on. Instead, he's trying to change this whole system, I think, to be these big, strong, powerful lads, time wasting, which is fine. It's one way of playing footy, by the way. And before anyone complains, I've seen Liverpool do it for 10 years under Julian Benitez. So, you know what I mean? But I don't think that way can win leagues anymore. I just don't think it can. Liverpool a little bit this season have kind of kind of went against that grain where we went a bit like that with the midfield, especially because he wants size in his midfield. He can only trust McAllister, and he wants big lads. It's very rare you just see Jones and McAllister starting a game for Liverpool, both of them at the same time, because he just wants big, powerful, strong lads at times. That's why I think he loves Gakpo, because he's just a big boy and he just a bit like he can throw himself about. Liverpool have kind of went against that, and probably from February onwards, Liverpool have kind of went that. But I don't know if this way of playing can get Liverpool 93 points. If City do ever come back. But the question is, do City ever come back, or do we just go back to normal football again? Do we just go back where you win? Liverpool might get a draw this year and win the league on 80 points. Like, Liverpool, you know what I mean? Like, no disrespect, 80 points is a great number. A lot of United sides win the league on 80 points, but has football changed now? That's what I'm getting at. Has it changed? And as he went back to a style that's just kind of outdated and not really in the presence of current football?
Now, here's the thing about like Arteta, before we move on a little bit, but and this probably more for Z generationally, but definitely for Cosy. One of my favorite TV shows of all time is Boys from the Black Stuff, set in Liverpool in the early 80s. And I've watched it. I've been watching it again every night for the past week. But the thing about it is, and you don't realize it when you're a kid, and you love everything that's Liverpool on television when there's only 4 channels to choose from. Back in the day, 6 for us because we had 2 Irish channels. But they weren't actually, apart from one, they weren't actually Liverpool actors. They were playing at being Liverpool actors, and then that became the stereotype of the Liverpudlian. That was kind of teased and mocked for years after that. But it seems to me that Mikel Arteta is playing at being a modern manager, and then the players are kind of seeing that, almost like with Rodgers, kind of playing at being the modern manager with the envelopes and the modern management tricks and all that. You might get a little bit out of it at the start, but players will eventually see through it if you don't have the genuine kind of weight behind it. It is a case that the more time goes on with the Arsenal players and Arteta, that they may start to see through him and then stop playing for him, and that's when he's going to have problems.
I don't want to say stop playing for him. Can I take this break for a second? Because I think it's a great point. I don't want to say stop playing for him, but I think you need this Champions League massive. Eventually, you need to win one. That's why the Champions League in 2019 was so important at Barcelona again, to win it. Because you have to go, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, and that's where the belief comes from. Eventually, you need to win one, and that's the difference. By the way, I think they are set up to win the Champions League. I said this when they drew Madrid, and I said I really fancied them still to get through, because they can just shit out and win. I know they didn't do that. They scored a couple of free kicks, to be fair, set pieces and stuff like that. But when I seen them in a tunnel compared to Madrid, they were giants. They look massive compared to like Vinicius and Mbappe and these like little small slight lads. And I was like, these might just bully them all over the park. That's exactly what happened. Eventually, a manager has to get to a point where something has to click. Something has to be won so you can go to the lads. It's your Champions League, I told you. Okay, manager, we'll do everything for you and we die for you. Like we did for Jurgen, and we'll die for you. I think this is the season. It has to get to that point. I really do, because you can only convince players to play a certain style, like that negative style kind of football, for so long without it. Like that's why Mourinho only ever last 3 years in jobs, because eventually my players just go, if you're not winning, fella, I don't want to play this way. So you've got to win as soon as. If you go this way, you've got to win now. And by the way, I still think they will win the Champions League as well.
I don't think. I think PSG's they're a different level from them.
I agree with that, Brian. But what I would say is, though, in cup competitions, you know this, you don't need to be the best team.
Oh, I agree totally.
I just think when you see the size of the PSGs, they are all small boys, aren't they?
I just question whether Arsenal can handle their counter. That's the one thing.
It's fair. It's fair.
I mean, that is, like we talked about before when we played, that is one of the best mobile counterattacks probably in Europe.
And their pace is unreal,
and their movement is really good as well. So it could be tricky, but Cosy does make a good point. Like sometimes a team's name is on the cup.
I know. I feel like
we saw it with Rafa, don't we?
Like Di Matteo won it and stuff like that. I just think if a team's compact and really like they're big lads, and they can just bully them off the ball and go, do you fancy this today? Do you fancy this? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is in my head. I just don't know why I've got it in my head that they're going to win it. I don't know.
Like the romantic thing would almost be PSG against Barcelona in the final, wouldn't it? And that's what you'd think, but it never works out that way. There's always the jammy team in it. Like
I know, but again, I just find that lads like I think we're giving him a harsh rap, is what I'm saying. I do think he's an half-decent manager. I think he's quite smart, but I think he might go back to basics a little bit next year. I think he might just go back to basics and go and sign the big boss striker and a boss number 10, because Odegaard hasn't really come back the same. He needs a left winger badly because Martinelli's not really doing it. If he gets Saka fully fit for the season and goes in back, signs, I don't know, tremendous left winger, Luis Diaz. I'm kidding. Then you never know what they could kick on. You know what I mean? I just don't think there's enough goals. 63 in 34 games. It's not enough.
But I agree with you totally there. I mean, because I think the same thing goes with Trossard and with Raheem Sterling as being the backup for Martinelli. It's just not enough.
To be honest, I will say I didn't mind the Sterling signing in the summer. It just hasn't worked. I didn't mind it on loan. I was like, just get you out of jail as a fifth choice. I thought he would have done a lot more Sterling down the middle when he struggled for strikers. I thought he would have. If you remember, actually, lads, in 2020, 21 and 21, 22, when City won the league, they never had a striker. And he just played a lot of midfielders down the middle. And you forget, I think it was 2021, Sterling did a bit of numbers down the middle for him. And he always did, and Sterling got some numbers. And I was like, maybe he just chances it. It's a bit like when Bournemouth, without a striker this summer, didn't play Semenyo down the middle. And I wanted to see Semenyo down the middle because of Liverpool. And I was like, just do him down the middle, because we might go and sign that type of player who just plays three positions. Do you know what? Someone who can just do all three for you. But there we go.
Now, talking about the signing of players, there are going to be a few free transfers at the end of this season. Now, the list I've got here, I've taken from Transfer Market, so it may be inaccurate slightly, but it's just a selection of players. My question is, given that Arsenal could have dipped into the market for a striker, a badly needed one, and they didn't, which again points back to the Arteta thing being, being cleverer than everybody else in the room. De Bruyne is on a free. I said on our Discord channel, which everybody should be following, as well as liking and subscribing this channel here on the YouTube and all those kinds of things, so you know what's coming up next. But I think he would be a fantastic free signing for Liverpool for a year at least. It's he may be old, but he's still talented. You just need to keep him fit, or at least recognize he's not going to play every single game. Vardy has announced that he's not going to be at Leicester next season. I wouldn't want to go for Vardy for Liverpool, but he's certainly a player that could help a number of sixth place down teams. A proven goal scorer who does keep himself relatively healthy. He's 38 years old. He doesn't play like a 38-year-old. But if you're Burnley coming up from the Championship, might be something to look at to boost your goal numbers. Well, here is a selection, and hopefully the text, there you go, it's readable. Yay. But just a selection of players just taken alphabetically from Transfer Market. I don't know exactly how accurate it is, but if it is accurate, is there scope for Liverpool to do one of those great, clever signings that we've seen so often before, that we never expected to take us to the next level, but ends up taking us to the next level, and also Ricky Lambert. Gentlemen, what do you say?
Go ahead, Brian.
I think there's a few.
There's a few in there. Definitely there's a few in there. I think that Jonathan David is an option, all coming off the bench, definitely right there. As it gives us something through there. I think a top right there is definitely something that we needed. We need somebody back in defense. So, I think that's definitely a thing. I don't think there's a couple things in there. I don't mind Kyle Walker-Peters. I don't mind him at all right there. I think Semedo's a decent player. there's some good pretty decent players as far as that will build our squad up there. I think that. But I think of those right there, I think pretty much right there, Ta and probably like that, and Jonathan David to me were like the pick of the two right there. When we were Sane, I just think it's weird with him. I just don't know whether how he would fit our system currently. I think under Klopp, I think that Sane would have been a good signing. I just don't think underneath a slot that would be the signing that you would use.
Here's my question though, SZ. Is this something that the transfer people would be thinking about? I mean, like Kevin De Bruyne stands out to me. I mean, Lionel Messi stands out even more, but I don't think Lionel Messi's ever playing against Stoke on a Wednesday night in the League Cup. But is it? I could see Schmacka looking at that list and go, "I'll have him, and we'll cost us next to nothing, and we're winning everything next season because we'll have quality on the bench every single week." But there's too many algorithms involved with the people we have in charge now. Something that might be a no-brainer, like Kevin De Bruyne, it may fly under the radar and we may suffer because of it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think KDB, especially as we're losing Trent and none of our midfielders can pass, KDB just fits everything, obviously apart from being injury prone, but, he's a winner. Proven winner, won the league title so many times. He's a leader, just walking straight into that team. So to lose Trent, who probably the best passer of the ball in the world, and to have him replaced by De Bruyne, obviously not on the right hand side, but just as someone who can pass the ball and pick out Salah, pick out our strikers. You don't lose that. It's like riding a bike. He's just naturally gifted with the passes and his vision. So yeah, I think KDB is a no-brainer. Along with Jonathan Tah and Jonathan David, both of them, to be available for free, especially Jonathan David. He's scoring 20 goals a season in the German league, and I know Aina. I think Aina is not on the list, but I think he's available.
Yeah, Aina's
he's available. To get him on as a right back, and while we kind of trying to embed Conor Bradley in as a long-term replacement. As a right back, I think Aina will be a good shout as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Susie. I couldn't agree more on that. I actually think Liverpool have a big decision about Bradley to make, because if it is Bradley and you think he's number one, then you've got to go and get an Aina or a Kyle Walker-Peters or a Semedo, just someone who can back him up, just a Premier League player who can back him up. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got with Costas, just a competent little Premier League player. And by the way, he'll cost you 10 million less than Costas did. I do agree with that. I think Jonathan David is a no-brainer, 25 years of age, perfect Liverpool signing for the age. Doesn't cost you anything. If he doesn't work out in 2 years, you're selling for money anyway. Probably get all your money back, including the wages. So it's fine to do. If you go and do a big number 9, if Liverpool want to go big for the number 9, but I don't think they will. I think they might just do a Jonathan David and get a big left winger. I don't know why. That's just in my head, gents, or the big number 10. The De Bruyne is super interesting because we need someone the same build as Szoboszlai to play the 8. It's not about playing, we need an 8. No, he likes a big fucking fella in the 8 because he hates Harvey Elliott, who's clearly a better passer of the ball than Szoboszlai. That's what De Bruyne is. Now, you're not asking De Bruyne to roll out 60 games anymore. You're asking him to roll out 25, 30. So De Bruyne is a massive option. The one that's on the list, which is the one that I've been massively honest, Tyreek Mitchell out of Palace. Left back, 25. I really like him at Palace. Think he's decent. I think if you're actually going to if you actually want to start as a left back or be the backup to Robertson, like a higher level or kind of, I don't know what that would be, like sharing the minutes, I think it wouldn't go far wrong for a Tyreek Mitchell as well. But yeah, the one that really stands out is Jonathan David at 25, mate. 25 years of age, French league, turn it up, let's go. And my issue is with Jonathan Targent. He's just a bit too old. I think he's 30 this year.
Yeah, he was the hot thing like about 5 years ago.
He's 29. Yeah.
I think he could be 30 this year. That's what it's in my head. So that's why I think in my head he might not just do him, you know what I mean? Because of that age part. But when you see someone like a Jonathan David or Aina's 28, which is kind of a bit old, but can he just do like a bit of Shaqiri bits for 3 years and just do you a job? And while Bradley's building himself up, can Tyreek Mitchell just do you a job for 2-3 years while you go and find a boss left back? Do you know what I mean? I just think with Liverpool, especially with the free market right now, Angel Gomez is really interesting, by the way, at 24 years of age. Really interesting. England international. I don't know if the United thing will be there, and Liverpool might not want the drama. It's not about him coming to Liverpool. I just don't think Liverpool might want the drama. Like, I can't be arsed with just the booing and everything, just like the pantomime for Liverpool. And they might just not want that drama. So, but he would be interesting as well. But if you had to give me one, probably just David just over De Bruyne.
Yeah. I just want to point out, I was going to put Mitchell on that list, but it would have made it all uneven, and that's why.
I got you.
But yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: we're 4 incredibly handsome, shiny-headed tactical geniuses here on a Thursday night. But here's the thing I have with, like, I'm all for data. We've had this discussion before. Like, it has its uses. It gets rid of a lot of noise when you're looking for a lot of data points and stuff like that. A lot of people or a lot of whatever. But sometimes it can miss gems. Good. I mean, like, not to bring his name up any more than we ever have to, but Brian Clough and Peter Taylor at Derby and then Forest were renowned for finding players that nobody else wanted and turning them into league champions and European Cup champions because everybody else wanted the sleek new thing and they recognized the quality that the player actually had. Is there a case to be made that we compromise the approach in the transfer, whatever they're called now, committee, to maybe go the algorithm and spreadsheet route, but, you know, occasionally just have a soccer person's eye, a football person's eye for a player?
I know. Can I?
Yeah, go on, because
this is a thing with me, right, bro, where you're so right, where sometimes the right answer is just in front of your eyes, and you don't need to be so confusing. And that's what they do with Salah and Van Dijk. Like, they're just the right answer right now. And it buys us some time to go out. That's the right answer. Oh, yeah, but look at this right winger, look at this centre. Yeah, but not as good as them. And I just think with Liverpool, I've been asking for this for years. Just go back to being clever. And what I mean by that is a Robertson, a Shaqiri, and Gini Wijnaldum. Those type of signs, lads have been relegated. Lads who were like Sadio Mane was an interesting one. I always think about Sadio Mane, not because he was unbelievable and I miss him dearly. It's more the fact that when he was signed, no one was asked. Everyone was just like, Sadio Mane is just a run-of-the-mill Premier League footballer, and then Liverpool take it to the next level. And I always think to myself, who's the next Sadio Mane? Who's that one with Liverpool? But he's knocking around the Premier League for a couple of years, and he wants to go to that next level. Like, I don't want... You can be a Sadio Mane, you can be a Wilfred Zaha, where you link with the move every single year for 10 years from Palace and no one wants you, because let's be frank here, you can't be that good then. You just can't be that good, because someone would have signed you again. Who's the next Sadio Mane who's like 23 to 25 in the Prem? And you're looking around going, who is it? It can be a centre-half, it can be a left winger. I don't know. I don't care where the position is. To kick on to that next level, who is it? I think it's Gibbs White. I think it's Gibbs White for Liverpool. I would take Gibbs White in a heartbeat in the 10, in the 8-10 role for Szoboszlai, because I think he's a better player than Szoboszlai, if I'm honest. And I think it is Gibbs White now. And I think it was Gibbs White before Forest played well. The problem is now you might cost an extra 30 million to get in the Champions League, which is an issue. But I just think, Mac, I couldn't agree more sometimes, mate. Can't you just look at a player?
Yeah.
Now, Bremo's interesting because he gets a lot of... I think he's on 16 goals, but I think he's got like 7 or 8 pens, which Liverpool won't be into. Do you know what I mean? And he also plays on the wrong side, where we need him to play. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why Wissa's really... Wissa's 28, though. I'm like, if Wissa was 24, and I think he's got like 14 goals or something this year, Liverpool will be all over that, I think. And I always think about that sometimes with players, Jen. Sometimes it's just right in front of you. You just look at a team and go, he'll do. And can't we just go and sign a player again for 3 years? We did it with Minamino. We just signed a player, brought him in, did a bit of business and sold him again, doubled your money. Like, I want to go back to that a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And now with these back, maybe we will. I don't know.
You know, I sit back in December right there about a certain player right there who actually played very well against United in that last match right there. Ryan Cherky right there is one is a cheap player, and I think that as an option right there, as a Slabazai, a type of option right there, I think that would be a perfect person to put in that field right there. And again, right there, the amount of money that they need money. That club needs money. They have to sell. So, I mean, you have to go through those type of options. And I agree with you right there. You have to find these like little gems that you go through there. I mean, I think that Cunha right there is a brilliant player right there playing for Wolves. And I think that's another one right there that you have that has potential to make that next step. Because, again, 23 years old, the ability to go in there to go over to a thing. Playing at Wolves right there for that right there, you're only going to go to this level right there. Going up to a different club like us right there, you actually have the ability to transcend. And I think that, same thing with João Pedro. I mean, those type of players right there, that Wolves right there you have, that have the potential right there to go to the next level. So I think you need to look at that type of thing like you're seeing, not just the relegation people, but the teams that are sitting like in the 17th, the 16th, 17th, and that United, but, that little area there.
So you watched Liverpool around, the same year that I watched Liverpool. Obviously, you kept your abs and your traps and your biceps in good shape, and I just didn't bother with that kind of nonsense because life's too short. But Because he's talking about was the thing for Liverpool, wasn't it? Because we got like Peter Beardsley from Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah.
We got
even
Houghton and Aldridge from Oxford.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time when
John Barnes
Liverpool
from
were
Watford.
literally.
I mean, yeah.
We were literally the player that the club that just went when we had like Jeff 20 and stuff like that running the scout, and like he's a good player. Let's just go sign him. What? It doesn't matter. He's a bloody good player.
United did it for 20 years. United just went to the best. Oh, fucking hell, Andy Cole's good. We'll take him. And just done it. And just took the best player out the best teams.
But even better, more to your point, Van Persie.
Yeah.
Let's just get 28-year-old Van Persie and win the league.
Who's the best player for us right now in this league? He's one of the best. We'll just take him because we're United and that's what we do. I know.
So we have been there before. There's no reason why we shouldn't, unless people are trying to be cleverer than ever. They're trying to Arteta the transfer market. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think also that back then when we were getting these players, we were banned from Europe, so our window was a lot smaller than what it is now. And obviously, now that the football's become more global, there's a lot more players, more pressure to buy these foreign players, if you like, and from what we see, and the data's like a lot more. It's a lot more bigger than what it was. I mean, obviously, we didn't buy players through the stats. It was just just optics. You look at John Barnes and what he did at Watford and what he did for England, and even Ian Rush. We got him from Carlisle, and it's. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the days are gone. But but I agree with what Kazi's saying. Sometimes, even though we are now probably the biggest club in the Premier League, just finding them little nuggets, it's what we kind of built our club on. And we went for Salah when everyone else, and no one else wanted to touch Salah. No, the club wanted Salah. And statistics showed Salah was better than Brent, and we were proven right. And Mane, I think Man United were the only other club that were trying to go in for him, or Spurs were, but we, Mane loved what Klopp, and we got him. And them little gems, the 30, 40 million pound players that we kind of linked with have proven good for us. McAllister, 35 million. He's probably worth probably 80, 90 million now. Those are the kind of players that I think we're in the market for, in the windows for. And you go back to losing out on Bellingham, we bought four midfielders for the same price, and look what we've achieved since then. So yeah, I mean, I don't want a big, massive marquee player. I wouldn't spend 100 million on Isaac or things. But I was like, when we can get probably 2-3 players at the same price, and we need a bigger squad. We've shown that we need a big squad, but we need also players that slot one. I think he's kind of proven himself that he can work with most players, but then we also need to get players in the squad that he's going to trust, so we're not actually killing the players because he doesn't trust the rest of the squad.
Now, here's the thing the point I wanted to make, though, because you do make the good point about the game being more global, but that's what data is good for. It gets, instead of looking at 5,000 players, you do your little spreadsheets, you do your little algorithms, and you narrow that down to 20. My thing is that if there's a player that's outside a particular bracket of age or a particular wage bracket, or isn't 6'1" tall or something like that, or doesn't have 50 recoveries per game, they may not look at that player, and it may be the next Manny. It may be a Shaqiri, who's not going to be your main guy, but will come in and do a job. And that's where the compromise is, isn't it? Really, because you can use the data to shorten the what you call it, the list. But once you look at that list, it has to come into intuition, then, doesn't it? That player's good. He doesn't fit our criteria, but my God, we're going to win the quadruple with him.
But this is the thing, though. Liverpool did compromise with Endo, but that wasn't Michael Edwards.
Yeah, that was the one that who knew what he's doing.
We just need a fucking number 6 here now, because we tried to get Caicedo, we can't get him. Go and get a number 6. He's come in, done a job. He feels like a bit of a cult hero, and now he'll leave and probably Liverpool get the same money back. Why can't sometimes we just do that? Do you know what I mean? Like, why? Sometimes I just think we try and confuse it. It's just a bit weird. I don't know. Sometimes the lads, the club are weird because they did this with Van Dijk and Alisson, where they went, they're the ones we'll go massive for because they are the ones, and they've been proved correct. Sometimes the right answer is just the big one. That is the right. Yeah. Sometimes the right answer is Isak, and you got to throw 100 million on it. That's sometimes just the right answer, whether you like it or not. It's just Isak because all the data comes back to Isak. But I will swear on Minamino for 7.5 million. Liverpool played Salzburg at home. We won 4-3. Right, Minamino. It was Minamino, Haaland, and Hwang, who's at Wolves, who's a tidy player. That was their front three. And Minamino was tremendous that night. I always think to myself, going, whenever, and then, by the way, you get Ornstein and Reddy come out going, oh, they've had data on him since he was 14. I reckon they genuinely just walked off and went, he's pretty good. Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes who's that? I know he's got a buyout clause of 7.5 million. Keep that down. Say nothing. We'll have him. Do you know what I mean? And I just think sometimes that's how full he is. He's played well. Mane used to play well against Liverpool. Yeah. Mane used to play well. And Liverpool just went, he's boss. Do you know what I mean? I just think sometimes we missed that a little bit. I've seen someone comment before about Eze. Eze's 27 in the summer. And I just think that's just a little year too late, where Gibbs White has just turned 25. And I think that could be the perfect sweet spot for Liverpool to go, we'll go big on Gibbs White. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I just think sometimes, lads, where I look around the league a lot and think there's a little player in there who can just do us a job. Now, going back to the main point here, Liverpool are going to have to be a bit shrewder in the window because there's so much to fucking do. Like, so they're going to have to be shrewd. You're going to have to go, it is Tyreek Mitchell for a couple of years because we can't be arsed boxing a left back. We just can't be arsed. We're taking 10 million for Costas, getting our dough back. We'll bring in Tyreek Mitchell, put him on the same wage, and everyone's happy. Do you know what I mean? That's where the Darwin thing in the summer, in the January, has been really weird to me. So Liverpool have turned down the 70 million or 80 million pound bid from Saudi for Darwin. Liverpool had the opportunity just to sign John Duran. Take the money from Darwin and sign John Duran for 60 odd million at 21, 22. Come in for 2 years. Oh, he's a troublemaker in the dressing room. That's why you sign leaders like Virgil van Dijk and Salah to grip them and go, that doesn't work around here because he's a kid. He's literally a 21-year-old kid he was. Liverpool had that opportunity to do that and just go, we'll just take him, get rid of him because we know we can't work, make 25, 30 million, and if he doesn't work, we'll get our dough back anyway. But you didn't do that. You decided to stick, and I understand why you decided to stick because the season was going so well and you didn't want to mix it up. I get that. I completely understand that. But that opportunity was there.
I think the one thing you're going to see right there is a lot of little wheeling and dealing kind of things right there. I think that, well, especially with the Bournemouth stuff right there. I think that Kelleher right there is going to be almost like a pawn right there to get moved on for players, to make way for players. And I think that's a definite thing that's going to happen right there.
Right. If I'm Bournemouth, I'll look and go, if you want one of our players, I'm taking Harvey Elliott. Because, by the way, how good would he be in that team?
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Best player in the world in that team. And I was thinking, I'd look and go, I'm taking him. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's not just the signings where Liverpool need to improve the squad, gents, in terms of the missing pieces, right? They have other players in the squad they want to get rid of. They want to fuck Darwin off. They want to do Jota, probably. If a half-decent bid comes in for Elliott or Diaz, they'll get gone. Costas, I think he hates him. Kelleher might go. Before you know, there's 6 players I've just named who we're all nodding our heads to, like, I can see that.
Chiesa.
Another one. If a 15, 20 million pound bid comes in back on from Juve, he's gone. So there's 7 lads. Never mind the players who, like Trent, who were leaving. Kanata, you've got a question on. He's got a year left. What are you doing? I just think Liverpool have got so much work to do that we might be looking at these free transfers and the players might look and go, we'll just do Jonathan David or a Mitchell or a Semenyo and players like that. So.
Which makes a player like Ta in the play right there, because if you have for instance, Kanate right there, if Kanate refuses to go there to sign a deal and wants that dump money right there to go sign on, you just go and move him on right there, put Ta in there and just go there and let Nalo go there and get blooded in and move on with the life.
And what are you doing with Joe?
Yeah, I mean, Joe Gomez is still on a deal, so so you still have him there. So you have players.
You'd rather not have him. You'd rather have a player who's fit. I love Joe Gomez. I think he's been tremendous for Liverpool, but let's get it right. He's not fit. So I just think we're getting to that stage, gents, where the club have a lot of work to do, and this is the final act of like this Jurgen Klopp side, and now it is time to have a rebuild. But it is a rebuild with 5 unbelievable players who other players want to come and play with.
And the great thing about Jonathan Taz, his name is hat backwards, and everybody loves a palindrome. Now let's depart from talking about players to talking about the things that really annoy us. It's time for Room 433. Gentleman's choice. I believe Brian is in the lead. Is he? Or is he?
I'll be close.
I think me and Brian are.
I have been here for a couple of weeks, so you might have caught me up.
It's 27 each, the Brian and Suzuki. No, only kidding. So it's gentleman's choice. Whatever's grinding your gears, I will leave it up to you guys to whoever thought about it the most. Basically, who has theirs ready. Has anybody got something they want to throw 4-3-3 right now?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Suzuki.
Assistant
is not allowed.
Assistant referees. Now that the automated systems come in, it's kind of done 90% of the job for them now. And it's just the delayed flag raising, which has almost caused injuries, and I'm surprised it hasn't caused injuries. And we almost saw it with one of our games where we carried on playing, and I think Van Dijk went for a tackle or something, and it was offside. It was clearly offside, but the assistant ref just put up their flags too late because they have to play it all out. So yeah, assistant referees, I really don't see why they exist between VAR and this semi-automated system, and the fact that they're doing their job when they should be doing it. They're going for Room 43.
Let me before we go to the two boys, let me say this. The part of the thing about soccer or football, whichever way you want to say, that makes it so great is that the same rules exist, except for VAR, at the top as they do at the local under 14s game, D division. Played on a landfill with gravel and used hypodermic needles. It's the same game with the same rules, the same 17 laws of the game. If we were to dispense with the assistant referee at the top as a matter of, we don't need them anymore, it creates a problem then down below in the other levels. And it stops becoming a game of the people and becomes a game for television, which you've already talked about. It's going anyway. But here's the thing that when I to defend assistant referees, as somebody who did a bit of refereeing back in the day, you never see American football teams for 30-year-old amateurs or 27-year-old amateurs. You never see it. Everybody finishes playing in high school or college, and if you're not NFL, you're done. And for me, part of the reason, apart from the fact that it seems like an incredibly hard sport to play, in terms of the impact on your body, is it's prohibitively expensive, and there's a hell of a lot of stuff you got to do to get a game going. I think there's a lot of touch football leagues with the belts and all that, but it's not quite the same. That's like playing five-a-side football. It's fun, but it's not the thing that you fall in love with. So my defense of assistant referees is that it keeps the game for the people, because you don't have VAR in League Two, but you certainly don't have it in the Electricity Glass-Tulle Division Z amateur Sunday Football League in Dublin. But you do have the potential to have the assistant referees. But that's just my opinion. What say you, Brian and Cozzy?
I think you need them. Yeah. I think you need them as much as I don't like them. Yeah, I think who's giving throw-ins? Who's giving the throw-in? The referee. What I would say though about the assistant referee, when I will back with Jersey, it is so funny. And like I used to live in Wales, and the local team there were 2 leagues below the Welsh Premier League, and they just weren't given linesmen. So if you were a sub, you had to run the line as a sub. Like, it can't be that important then if you're a sub and you're running the line. Clearly, by the way, with
a bib instead of a flag.
Honestly, fella, right? 4 yards.
I remember it as.
And it was their striker going through. You were still flagging anyway because he's 4 yards. He's 4 yards on, and you're like, nah, he's off because they're going to score pandemonium. So I will say that, but I just think you need them as much as they are frustrating and annoying. You know what I mean? Like, I've had enough how referees just think they're the fucking main stage of the whole fucking game now, and that really frustrates me as well. But yeah, there we go. But we'll have to keep them for now.
Brian, what do you think?
We have to keep them. I mean, it's part of the game. I mean, and again, right there, if you want to get rid of somebody, get rid of these celebrity freaking line referees that you have in the middle there. Get rid of them, because I hate every single one of them. And, there isn't a single one of them that I like out there. I mean, honestly, right there. I mean, I'd rather deal with the anonymous guy, an assistant referee that just does his job, waves the flag, moves on with his life right there, than deal with these guys that want to make a name for themselves, the Howard Webb wannabes.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to not put that in room 433. You're going to have to take that back. But I will say, I think we could all agree a compromise by getting rid of the fifth official, because they're bloody useless. They don't do anything. They don't even hold up the numbers anymore. The coaches have to do that now. That's free money, essentially. So Z, you got to keep that one, unfortunately. Tough. And they're going to be moving into your house next week. Brian and Cosy, who's next? Who's got an idea?
Go on, Brian.
I'm going to go with something that irked me from last year right there. The price of preseason tickets in the United States. There is no way I should be paying $100 American to see a bunch of kids run around in a friendly. And so that is my biggest thing right there. So my first friendly I saw was Celtic versus Liverpool and Hartford. That literally was basically I think I paid $30 to see that right there. The last one I came there and paid for was $75 right there, seeing Dortmund play against Liverpool. It's just crazy right there. You're just paying. You're paying. I understand the whole principle right there to go on the tour, to go in and exposure, but this is almost like robbery right there. I mean, at some point right there. I mean, I noticed that last year some of the ticket prices right there for some of the matches were like almost $200. I mean, for some of these seats, and this is in the little fan section that they had through there. Were completely ridiculous. I mean, and so yeah, I mean, it's basically robbery, and I know that the club only gets a portion of it, so it's all coming back to whoever the promoters are, and they're getting a good piece of this right there. So that's my problem. Preseason ticket prices. If you want to go there and get your exposure, keep your prices down right there so the supporters can come see that they can see their side. That they don't get to go to Anfield, they don't get to go to whatever club that they're going to see is traveling through here.
I was going to say we lost Z for a second there, and I was going to say maybe he was the one that sold you the tickets, but he's back, so we got him again. Cosy, what do you think?
Couldn't agree more. But the reason why they keep coming back here is because it's sold out every single time they go, and there's a waiting list to get on. If there was a 200,000 seater stadium, Liverpool will fill it in this country.
Yes,
for $150 a ticket, they'll fill it. So it is what it is. That's the reason. But of course, ticket price is going to be something very close to my heart, and it's something that I really am against. If they ever go to America, is going to see them and paying a ticket for them, because I don't want to go and see Tyler Morton kick 40 balls for 90 minutes. So
I have to agree on that, even though I don't get a say in it, but I will agree in the sense that I had to go and watch Andy Carroll fall over in Baltimore and scald the ass off myself on the plastic.
I think I fell over in Baltimore. I know my wife did right there with a freaking 110 degrees or
110 degrees, yeah. And I was wearing shorts. I think I left like at least one layer of skin on the seat.
Terrible.
And it wasn't. I don't think it was a hugely expensive ticket price, but it was enough when you're traveling from Connecticut to Baltimore to go watch. Like it was a 0-0 draw or 1-0 draw?
It was a 0-0 draw. 0-0 draw. Yeah.
But yeah. So Z, what do you think? Preseason ticket prices, are they gone crazy?
Yeah, they're just taking advantage, and between the ticket prices and staying in a hotel. Last time Liverpool came up to the West Coast, I mean, it's good memories for me because it was Mane's debut, and Karius broke his hand that game, so it was a double celebration that day. But still, it was expensive, and paid for my wife to go, who didn't know what the hell was going on. Yeah. It's expensive unnecessarily, just being taken advantage of. And if I thought that 99% of that money was going to Liverpool, it might make a bit of a difference, but it's not. So yeah, ticket prices, they can go in there.
I think ticket prices for pre-season friendlies has gone in. Just before we go to Cosby's one and then talk about the game for the weekend, has anybody seen that thing like that? I think it's almost a bar or restaurant where it's like the big surround screen.
Yeah. The Cosmo.
That looks fantastic.
That's amazing.
I would pay money to go into that just for once. But I think the camera feed is taken directly from a stand at a stadium.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that? Like that if they had one on the East Coast, I'd be traveling to that at least once a month.
I think I'll do
They've got one in LA and one in Texas. Because I was trying to get the tickets to the Liverpool Man United one earlier on, and as soon as the tickets came out, they're sold out. And I think it was about $75 a ticket. But I mean, it feels like you're in the stadium. From what I've seen, it looks like you're in the actual stadium. But there's different tiers. I think you've got a gold, silver, and bronze tier. It just depends on what tier you want.
But the experience, like the technology behind it, looks fantastic, though.
It's tremendous. By the way, you're gonna have to come on a bit of a journey with my room 433.
Okay, let's go. Let's let us all put on our slippers, fire up the old Ovaltine, and sit in front of the fire as Uncle Cozzy takes us on his journey. Go ahead, Coz.
Relegation, as it stands. Now, go along with me. The teams who are coming up now, the gap is so large between the team who are 17th, the 17 Premier League clubs, and now the newly promoted clubs. It's just unsustainable. They're coming up and just getting whacked. They can't compete. It's not fair anymore. So I'll, for some context here, Ipswich are 18th in the league on 21 points. West Ham 17th with 36 points. That is not enough. Now, the relegation as it stands is there's some teams who would, let's get it right, taking the mick in the Premier League. They've just got a few nice pieces and they're just staying in there, just taking the money. They're not competing. They're not trying to win the league. They're not trying to finish in Europe. Just don't want to get relegated. That is not, for me, as competitive as I would like it to be. I will bear in mind, by the way, when these arguments of the league isn't competitive, it's completely false. It is actually more competitive than it's ever been. So I will argue that. And now what I want to do to change the whole football landscape, if you can't win 10 Premier League games, you get relegated. You have to win 10 to stay in this league. Now, let me tell you why. I'm not having teams coming up. So Southampton have won 2 all season. Leicester have won 4. Ipswich have won 4. West Ham have won 9. Everton have won 8. 8. They've won 8. This is meant to be an entertainment prospect. This is meant to be entertaining. We're trying to sell something. And you're winning 8 games. I'm not asking what your points. You've got to win them. I don't care if someone's above you on 10 games or whatever it is. You've got to win 10 to stay in the league. If not, you get relegated and you just take some more of the championship lads up, then don't give them a try to win 10 games and let them have a go at it. Because right now, this is not good enough. I've just checked again the season before. Sheffield United won 3 games of football. Why are you here? Why are you in this league? Because you're not trying to win the league. You're not trying to stay in the league. And winning, you finished on 16. Burnley won under Vincent Kompany, won 5 games of footy. Luton won 6. Forest won 9. Is that really enough? Is that what we're trying to sell you? Now, what my idea would propose is we're giving clubs who would get in the top 7, 8 of the championship the Premier League money. Can you do better? So here's your 109 million, and I've got to give you that my way. My football club brings all the money in. So does Man United bring all the money in, and I've got to split it with you anyway. But you're going to come up. I'm going to give you 150 million to come up and win 2 games of football. Is that what you're offering me? Is that what you're trying to sell to me? We're trying to sell this product for the new TV deal to come round of entertaining footy, and you're coming up taking 150 million, winning 2 games of footy. It isn't good enough. It's absolutely not good enough. Take the money, give it to someone else who's going to get promoted, and who's going to give it a fucking good go, or basically staying in this league and trying to win football matches.
Let me throw a wrinkle in the sheet. The bed sheet. I don't know why I said bed sheet. It's probably because we're all handsome and it's making me think funny things. But if like Forest only got the 9 wins last year.
Last year, yeah.
Right. But now they're in the Champions League places.
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't see that. So like it for Forest, it was just a matter of changing manager rather than they just had to change a manager from was it Steve Cooper, wasn't it? To somebody who knew what they were doing and who actually had a positive, not a positive tactic, but he wanted to win games and he set everything up to win games. Is the point maybe not so much that they're not ready, but that they seem to think they have to not compromise the thing that got them up in the first place? Because I have a funny feeling Burnley are going to actually stay in the Premier League next year under England's brave Scotty Parker, because they play a very defensive, almost Nuno Espirito Santo style.
No, only Leeds will have a chance, and Leeds will have a chance if they sack Daniel Farke.
Yeah, I was going to say, but they do have Daniel Farke.
The reason is, Mac, and this is my point of, none of these promoted sides will stay in this league next year. Nope. And the reason being, the team who was 17th have 3 players up front who should play in the Champions League.
Yep.
Everyone's got those players. Paqueta, Bowen, and Kudus is as good as it gets. And we played Champions League footy this year, and we played against 8 teams in that group stage, and only about 2 of them have a better front for line than them. Right, and they're 17th in the league, man. Mark, we're getting to the stage here, fella, right? We're giving these teams come up all the time this money, and they're just taking the money and going back down with parachute payments. So we're giving them 150 million in the league. They're taking the parachute payments for 3 years and just bouncing back and forth and just building a whole... That's not fair. I want to see a Coventry in the league, by the way. Coventry in the playoff places, that's why I say that. I want to see Coventry back in the league. I want to see Sunderland back in the league or in the playoff places. But it's more likely we're probably going to be Sheffield United. I've just seen you come up 2 years ago and win 3 games of footy. This has to change. This has to stop. Like, you can't keep coming up and taking the dough and not trying to stay in the league and not doing your best to stay in the league and not making true business decisions. Mac, I'll go back to your point about Forest. It's a very fair one. But you can't also tell the future. You can't also go, well, they might fucking finish third one year. You can't, you know what I mean? That's not, you can't look at that either. So it just irks me at the moment.
Do you think that maybe removing the parachute payments might be a help? Yeah. Because then players have to actually do the work to stay in the league.
That's fair. But then the clubs are going bankrupt. So these clubs are then going down, not coming back up, Mac, because they'll just fold. So we have to do something to protect them. Do you know what I mean? But there's also part of this where, okay, we're talking about free transfers, Mac. There's players on there that they can take for free transfers that can improve them. Do you know what I mean? But they'll rather go and sign bums for 30 million that you never heard of. Like fucking Sheffield United signed Ollie McBurney for 25 million and Ryan Brewster. Like, what are we talking about? Like, so there's also a part of this, you can do things cleverly. Look at Brighton, for example. You can do things being clever and not throwing all the dough as shite. But what I'm getting at the point is here, man, this league has to change. It's not sustainable for 3 lad teams just to come up here and get whacked every week, knowing you've got these kind of points. Because all Wolves needs to do is beat the 3 promoted sides and they stayed up. That's all you have to do. Just stay up, beat the 3 promoted sides, draw 7 games and you're fine. That can't be right. So if you don't win 10, that means you're not competitive to stay in this league. Get them all out. Get some teams in here who want to stay in this league and want to try and stay in the league and win footy matches.
Brian and Suzy, what do you think?
And for me, I always thought the 3rd place in the championship shouldn't come up. I think the 3rd place should have a playoff game against the third bottom team in the Premier League.
Don't mind that.
And one of them, whoever wins that comes up, or whoever loses goes down. I think it's going to be hard with 10 points to. I mean, you can have like 5, 6 clubs or 10 wins. That's like 6 clubs going down, maybe. You know, and I mean, it sounds great on paper. I just don't see how it will be feasibly being able to be carried out. And I think again, this probably shows why the ESL might have been a good idea. From what we're seeing, like you said, like these clubs are just basically making money off Liverpool's back, Man United's back, Chelsea's back, and you know, these parachute payments. I think they're getting too much. I don't know. I mean, you know, how much of that money actually goes back into the club, and how much does the owners take as profit? So something definitely has to be done. I agree with what Cardi is saying. But to be honest with you, personally, after Liverpool was went into administration and Gillette and Hicks and no one giving a shit about Liverpool, I couldn't care about any other club, really, to be honest with you. So, you know, if they go bankrupt, they go bankrupt. It's it's not my problem because we were that close to going out of existence and no one cared. So,
Brian, what do you think?
I'm going to expand a little bit more on what Sir Z said right there. I say, okay, so the current entity right there, you have right there for the championship, you have 2 sides come up, and then you have 4 play in the playoffs. Okay, so why don't we just go there and do 6 and 6 right there? The bottom 6 right there of the league go into a mini league against the top 6 of the championship, and then go there and deal with it that way. Make the seeds right there for the top 2 of the championship and then like the top group of the Premier League, and then go there and play a round robin tournament and determine who stays in the league and who goes down. And then that way you at least go there and see who's the better sides are going to actually come in there and are going to stay in there. Because I agree with what Kazi says right there. These guys are these clubs are coming up here getting bashed right there and then taking a payment, moving back to the championship, and living another day. You know what? It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable one bit. So I mean, so you have to do something. I mean, so it has to be some type of option. I remember how the Scottish League a long time ago used to actually do break it in half right there, and then you had the other half play at the bottom like that. Something of that sort right there, where you can determine who the relegation sides are. German leagues are there. The bottom plays the top. Then you figure out who's going to go there and get relegated, who's going to stay up. Something has to be done with that, because you can't keep on promoting like Sheffield United. You can't keep on promoting Leeds who keep on going up and down, up and down, up and down every freaking season. And then and what are you getting out of that? Nothing. You're just getting this the 17th place team just doing enough just to go out there and get by, but they're not good.
What if we just went back to the really, really old school thing of just a bottom team from the top division gets dropped down and only the top team comes back up, and that's it?
And the gap will get bigger, because the team who finished 19th, Macka, he's signing boss players because they're getting the Prem money all the time. So the gap will get bigger again. It needs a big refresh, Like, for example, I get the point of like the bottom side playing in one in the top league. I like that point as well. Could you imagine if West Ham plays Sheffield United now? Have you fucking seen West Ham's front line? It's a joke. It's literally a joke. They have Max Kilman centre half. He's unbelievable. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like you have to come and show me some intent that you want to win footy matches. You have to just come. You can't just come up and just try and fucking rope it up and stand there like that for 38 games. Do you know what I mean? I know you'll get killed, because eventually you get killed in this league. I just think it needs a big refresh. It's not working. The teams just get promoted, getting whacked and going back down with the tail between the legs. And by the way, they'll lose the best player. But by the way, this is the other part that frustrates me as well, gents. So they come up. So Leeds came up and signed Sinistera for 40 million. Fucking Rutter for 40 million. Brendan Harrison went for 30 odd million, I think, to them. They go down and make loads of little shoe bits of business and get back up. So they signed Ethan Ampadu for 8 million quid. And that Piori, I think it is, the striker, he's just scored loads of them for 14 million. And you're like, oh, so you can be clever. You can be smart, but you get in the Prem, spunking on all the shit and get battered, then go, oh, can you bail me out with the parachute payments? So there is a part of this as well. There's a balance. I understand Sergio's point about the parachute payments. So there's a balance to that. But we need a refresh. This league isn't competitive with the bottom 3. The other teams are. This isn't.
I like what they did with the Champions League, where you got payments according to the games that you won. So instead of having these bulk of payments, then reward clubs for give them a certain amount for every game that they win.
Yeah, I maybe something along those lines as well. I think at the stage, gents, it needs a complete ripple. I just think it needs a ripple, because by the way, there's big clubs down there like Sunderland, and Sunderland a big club, big footy club, Sunderland.
But it's going to go back to. He'll eventually go back to the Prem 1, Prem 2 thing right there that was talked about years ago right there. I mean, that may be an entity right there, and then you basically almost kind of like the League 2, like Division 1, Division 2 clubs right there for the most part are kind of locked out right there because these big clubs are going to be there.
There's a part of this as well, gents. Winning 10 games isn't a massive amount of wins, It's not a lot. It's only one in like 3.5.
30
games.
points.
You know what I'm saying? It's 30 points. I'm not asking you to fucking go out and win 20 games of footy. I'm saying 10 wins. That's it. Just, can you win 10? If you can't win 10, you aren't good enough. Get out. Go.
So let's, before we move on to the game for the weekend, Brian and Suzy, is Cozzy putting relegation as it stands, not relegation per se, as it stands right now, into room 433?
Absolutely. I 100% agree right there. I think that it's broken.
I wouldn't put relegation
as it stands.
As it stands. Just the way it's happening.
As it stands.
Yeah, as it stands.
You said yes, move on. Yeah.
If I didn't know any better, I think you were an Everton fan with that response, Cozzy.
I'm so I knew it was a long shot to get it in, but I really
I think as it stands, it needs to be looked at a little bit. So we'll give you that one for this week, especially as you were missing for last year. So let's do this. Let's talk about before we go. The game on Sunday. It's almost a procession, I think. Spurs and Liverpool. Spurs have bigger things to think about. They have. They actually have a chance in Europe. If we're going to say Arsenal have a chance in the Champions League, Spurs have a chance for Ange to walk away from White Hart Lane or whatever they're called now and go, "See, I told you I won something in the second season every year." For every team. And you can go back to Erinsborough or Surrey Bay with his trophy. But I don't think Ange Postecoglou cares if he wins or loses against Liverpool this weekend. I think our players are going to be up for it at Anfield to win the league in front of a crowd at Anfield, especially the ones who won the last one, to an empty stadium. So what say you guys? How do you think this game is going to go?
About as one-sided as I could ever imagine. I
just want to point out, it is allowed, Irate Bear, but we prefer not to. It's a choice. And it is the look-alike contest. And big up to Mr. Battered. It's good to have you join us today. We hope you join us every other Thursday. But yeah, go ahead.
You couldn't pick a better side to play. You couldn't pick a better side.
Yeah.
In terms of the position they're in, the style of football that they play, and the semi-final on the horizon for them. I think it's on the Thursday against Bodo Glimt. So they have a really good chance of getting to the final, which will be massive for them. Couldn't handpick a better scenario for Liverpool to be in to win the league. What Arsenal did on Wednesday was kind of just give us another opportunity to win the league, i.e. you can draw the game and win the league. So, yeah, excited for the game. It's a weird scenario because it hasn't been a race. It hasn't been close for weeks. It's a bit like, again, I've said this previously about, it's a bit like knowing your birthday's coming up. It's going to be a lovely time. I'm going to have a great day. But you know about it 6 weeks before because I know my birthday every single year. It doesn't change. That's what it's felt like a little bit. But now it's the big crescendo of hugging and kissing everyone who is in sight. And maybe COVID might just start after all the people I kiss in that boozer because the Reds have won the league for the 20th
time. Brian, what do you think? We're all talking about the party atmosphere part of it. It's almost like the tactics and the selection doesn't really matter. We just want the players to get it over the line and for once, I actually have the day off work to watch it. It'd be great. But it would be such an outpouring of relief that we're winning this league in the Manchester City era, and it's not a nerve-wracking, and we can keep our fingernails intact.
I think Ange has Ange has bigger fish to fry. I think it's a preservation right there. I think they're going to, it's going to be mainly right there. They have that look at that semifinal going on Thursday, and I think that they, like you said right there, they have a chance of winning, of going and winning the Europa League and going to the Champions League right there on such a terrible season that they've had in the league. So I really think that on there, I don't think it's going to be. I think it's not going to be a match. I think it's honestly. I think that it's going to be. They're going to be basically dialing themselves down, making sure their guys are fit for Thursday, and moving on with life right there because this isn't their match. They have no bearing upon this. They don't care. It doesn't affect their life at all. So yeah, I don't see this being a competition at all.
Suzy, what do you think the lineup's going to look like?
I like everyone else. I really don't care as long as Nunes doesn't start between now and the end of the season. So we can save ourselves about £5 million just on that alone. So
he can start his dinner.
I like to see Chiesa get a start. The strikers haven't really been on form, but I think just Sunday itself, especially after winning it in COVID, and certain groups of people trying to null and void it, and just the whole thing. I remember that day. I had to be isolated from my family because they had COVID, and just there, like looking at my phone, watching Chelsea beat Man City, and didn't have no one to celebrate with, and it's just so I can imagine what the ground is going to be like. It's just going to be a complete shit show there, and good. We deserve it. It's to watch Van Dijk being the first Dutch captain to win this league, and they're just so many like narratives for Sunday, and it's probably the best thing that's happened this year. Really, it's just been a shit show of a year since it started, and this is a good highlight to have.
Cosy, what do you think? Is I don't think Arne Slot's going to approach the game going, it's Spurs. He should, but he's not going to. It's probably going to be as you were for the lineup, isn't it?
Yes, it's not going to be anything different than what we expect. That's his favourite 11. He's not going to change it. The only argument is that what he does up front. Does he do Diaz up front?
He plays up left, yeah.
And then Paul on the left, probably. I think that's what he'll go with Spurs' high line. I think with Diaz's pace, we haven't got raw pace up front. We don't have absolute raw pace. Diaz is the quickest probably, and he is not as quick as I'd like him to be anymore. So I don't know if the injuries are kind of taking its toll on him. So, but listen, mates, this is what the hard work's been about for Liverpool this season. Is to get in this moment, and it's the dream moment. Do you know what I mean? So the one thing I'd like to say is thank God for James Tarkowski's last-minute equaliser against Liverpool for Everton, because otherwise Liverpool would have won the league by now, and we're going to do a big Sunday to ourselves. So.
Now we are going to have like a pre-match. I'm sure we definitely will have a pre-match and a post-match. So we'll get in depth into the lineups and the tactics and all that. But for our new viewer, here is I think it's an interesting question, lads. We go Brian, Suzy, and Cozzy before we give score predictions. But who do you want to score the goal to win the league? I'm going to start actually. I would love Endo to do it.
Oh, honestly, I'd sell a testicle for Endo. Honestly, all day. Give me Endo.
Macka.
Brian, what do you think?
McAllister. I really want McAllister to go there and do it. I mean, if not McAllister, it's Salah. One of those two.
You just know it's Nunes, don't you? You know it's Nunes. The big off the bench and score.
It would go against everything in Thursday night right there to say Nunes winning the goal that wins the league.
Nunes is going to score a hat-trick just for Macka on today.
Hey, he's going to come in the 60th minute and score a hat-trick.
Finally. In a 5-0 win. The 5-0 win with the Nunes hat-trick I've been asking for since last year.
It's Nunes.
Suzy, what do you think?
In order of preference, Chiesa, Alisson, Van Dijk.
In a serious one, if you really had to make me pick, I'd take Curtis Jones, please. Scouts in front of the cop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a thing for me. The other Scouts is not really a Scouts anyway. He's getting off. But Curtis Jones in front of the cop all day.
I just realised it's Mr.
Wait, is Ponza a Scouser? Ponza's a Scouser, right?
Nah, he's from Warrington. He's like, nah, bro.
Yeah, that's not real Scouts.
He's got
I know that.
When you heard him speak, but yeah. Hasn't Gravenberch scored this year? It's poor for him. Remember his goal against Fulham last year, wasn't it? Was it Fulham last year? Away?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there we go. Curtis Jones for the winner, please. Thank you.
Curtis Jones will be good. I'd love an old Endo because I don't think he's going to be with us for very long. But I'd love him to sign off.
He has the best song going at the moment.
If Gomez was fit, I'd want Gomez. Now, to be fair, I'd love Gomez.
It's heaven, isn't it? Like Costas nearly scored last week against Leicester, didn't he?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, imagine Costas doing it.
What we should do is just name Gomez to the bench and try and win a penalty, and then have him just go on and take it on his crutches.
Just give it to Mighty Red. Get Mighty Red on, let him take a pen. But to be fair, how bad our pens were against PSG, Mighty Red can't be too much worse, to be honest.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So before we sign off for the night, because we will look more in depth on Sunday into the actual game itself, what are your score predictions, and who do you think will be the worst player? Or not the worst, the one who's most overcome by the occasion.
Who's going to cry the most?
Oh, yeah. Who's going to cry the most?
Okay.
All right, so 3-0, Slavozlai.
You think Slavozlai will score or cry?
No, I think he's be the person that's not going to show up for the occasion.
I don't. Who do you think is going to cry the most at the end?
I don't want to be negative.
Crying the most at the end is probably going to be Konate.
Oh,
Yeah, could be.
big Ebu. I want a big tear. I like that.
Susie, what do you think?
I think we win this 4-0. I think Van Dijk will be the one who's crying.
I'm going to
I
go.
think they've been a Dutch captain and first one to lift it.
It's a good point, you know. But I don't think the Dutch cry. I don't think they have tears.
That's true, yeah.
You're Dutch when you're born.
The French cry.
Trent.
They used
Trent.
them all up.
Trent the biggest crier.
Sense the answer, I think, innit? But I'm all in on Mo crying. I'm all in on Mo having a big tear because how much it means to him to win this league. Let's be frank here, gents, because I know we'll come to the end here. He's dragged us to this league title. On his back. He's dead.
It's his.
Whether we liked it or not, he dragged us to this league. And there's been players, by the way, in the past, especially with us growing up, gents, where a striker's just dragged people to leagues. Eric Cantona always thinks to me, Didier Drogba always thinks to me, like Wayne Rooney did the for United for a bit. He dragged them to a couple of leagues, Rooney. He's dragged us to a league title, kicking and screaming, whether we liked it or not, he was winning this league this year. And that's exactly what he did. And I just feel like he might have that. And he thought he had that moment against Wolves a couple of years ago when Villa went 2-0 up. You remember the celebration? He thought he did it. And I think he thought to himself, I'm going to do it. And this is his moment. And this is the one where you think, yeah, I think this is the time, lads, where we go. I've been waiting for the performance of champions for 3 months. And I think this is the day when it's the big sunshine day.
I've got to go 5-0, Nunes hat trick, but I think Alisson is going to be the.
Ali's here as well.
He's an emotional guy.
Who's doing the most kissing?
He's going to get the guitar out.
Yeah, who's doing the most kissing? Probably Trent, and Trent's doing this big kisses goodbye. I think I want to see who's doing the most kissing. Yeah, because I'm going to kiss everyone in that loser, whether they like it or not. You're getting a big treat. The Reds have won the league.
Okay, everybody off to Cosby's house now. I was going to say, I mean, it's got to be a great occasion nonetheless. But as I said, we're going to have a pre and a post match. But if you want to know when they're all happening, you got to do this. You got to follow us on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Blue Sky and Mastodon and Patreon.
Before we go,
I think we might have a watch along. I think Tim was saying we might have a watch along.
Might be a watch along, yeah.
Here's my advice to anyone. Bournemouth are playing United before us. I couldn't handpick a better game of footy. Go to the booth at 6 a.m. and fucking have a shot of Fireball with a bottle of lager. Like, I'm watching this before the Reds win the league. My head off. It's just a pair. It's like having dessert first. Yeah. It's like having dessert. You have ice cream already.
You get to watch the magnificence of Harry Maguire's got a head like the cliffs of Dover. And I can't even. I think that could be as much of a 4-0 win for Bournemouth as Liverpool.
I don't know what I want worse. I know what I want more. If you offer me Bournemouth to win 5-0 and Liverpool to draw 1-1, I'll probably take it. I'll take on that. Liverpool win the league Sunday and Bournemouth whacking them 5-0 for a laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see Kevin again. I haven't seen Kevin in a fair old while.
Big thank you to Kev, by the way. Palace there doing us a little draw.
Yeah, doing us a great favour there the other day. Let's all laugh.
By the way, if you would have scored the win in the last minute, Kev, I would have fucking come and killed you. To be honest, Liverpool to win the league on a Wednesday night. That was not on my fucking plan. You know what I mean?
But it's all worked out in the end, thankfully. So we will see. I think there's a coffee show tomorrow, and then probably watch along on the Saturday, maybe. But definitely a pre and a post match for the party time that will be Liverpool against Spurs. Now watch Angie win 3-0. No, we better not. It is what it is, mate. So we will see everybody then. Have a great one. Thank you to the lads, the handsomest ball people on the planet. And the Baldles, as we like to be called, and we will see everybody on the weekend. Enjoy what's going to come because we're going to be league champions no matter what. There's no way we're losing every game from now to the end of the season, and it won't matter any because Arsenal will lose something along the way as well. Now you're going to believe us. We're going to win the league. Peace out, people.